Today's NFL trade rumors are sponsored by Mint Mobile. Make the switch today to save some money without losing any of your coverage. It runs on the largest 5G network because Mint Mobile's changing the game. Plans start at $15 a month at mintmobile.com/chatsports. We've got some interesting trade rumors / ideas floated out there by Pro Football Focus. But first, I want to hear from you guys. Name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Let me know right now in the comment section. The first one is a rumor. It's Christian McCaffrey. This is interesting. So Jason Lockenfor, who is now at the Washington Post, by the way, said the Panthers would trade away McCaffrey before the deadline. I don't really agree with that prediction. By the way, McCaffrey has a thigh injury because he's made of glass, unfortunately. A trade of McCaffrey would save the Panthers a grand total of $2.26 million the next 2 years combined. That is it. You're basically getting the vet min salary if you trade away McCaffrey. Now, he's super cheap for a new team in 2022, so if you want to rebuild in Carolina, that could make some sense. Although McCaffrey, if he's healthy, knock on wood, has looked pretty good this year. Almost 5 yards per carry. I'd still argue getting him more involved in the passing game would make sense, but I kind of think Matt Rule just doesn't work, and that is Ben McAdoo in an NFL offense 2022, but I digress. If the Panthers trade away McCaffrey, they're punting on this year, and they're also firing Matt Rule. I think you would fire Rule and then consider shopping McCaffrey because Deonta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Raheem Blackshear, come on. Those guys are not going to carry you where you need to be carried for an offense that has not moved the ball very well. And honestly, might be some coaching issues, not just your quarterback. Baker hasn't played great. McCaffrey has. The lack of money saved doesn't really intrigue me all that much. But if Carolina does fire Matt Rule and they want to rebuild, a trade of McCaffrey at that point could make a little bit of sense. Saquon Barkley, also subject of now some trade rumors. ESPN and some others, Boomer Esiason among them, have pitched the Giants trading away Saquon Barkley. Saquon's in the last year of his deal and has played very well this year. The Giants at this moment are still 2-1. Now, if they collapse before the trade deadline, at that point a trade could make sense because do you want to pay Barkley big money in free agency? I'm not sure that you do. And you could always do the whole Aroldis Chapman move of trade him away and then re-sign him if you really want to. Get wild with it from that perspective. A trade for Barkley and more assets could make sense if the Giants collapse. So of the two former first-round picks at running back, 2 premium picks, by the way, who is more likely to be dealt? Type in SB for Saquon Barkley and CM for Christian McCaffrey. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, SB or CM. Let's talk Saquon more in depth here. I've been impressed this year. The big plays are back. Barkley looks more like his rookie year self than he ever has since then. And, maybe some more competent play calling has helped out a little bit there. 6 yards per carry, some passing game value still as well. He has been very good and looks healthy, which he hasn't always been the past couple of years. Again, the issue for the Giants, if they trade away Saquon Barkley, they got nothing. It's Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell, and then practice squad guys. And, maybe you could hypothetically send him to, like, the Bills and get, like, a Zach Moss or a Devin Singletary back, but you would have nothing at running back for a team that wants to run the football because their O-line's not great, and to be honest, neither is Daniel Jones. Now, what is great is Mint Mobile. Start saving money today. Don't pay the premium wireless coverage cost, but still get the actual premium wireless efficiency and value. It's Mint Mobile. Runs on the largest 5G network, and they start at $15 a month, their cell phone plans do. Go over to mintmobile.com/chatsports and make the switch today. Don't just take my word for it. You can take my mom and my sister's words for it. They've made the switch to Mint Mobile. It's worth it. Don't believe just me or Ryan Reynolds, who owns the company. You can take my mom's word for it too. mintmobile.com/chatsports. Another Giant next up here. This one even more unlikely. Kenny Golladay. The Giants have tried to shop him. Here's the problem. Nobody wants Kenny Golladay. There's no one who wants to pay $13 million base salary and have a guaranteed $4.5 million next year for a guy that, I'll say it because Giants host Marshall Green said it, he's a bum. He complains about playing time leading into the Cowboys-Giants game. This is what Ian Rappaport said before the Cowboys game. The Giants could trade Golladay to an interested party, and likely the only way it would work is if New York pays the bulk of his contract in exchange for a late-round pick. Sources say that is a possibility. Now, that was if things don't get better in New York, that could happen, per Rappaport. Oh, it got worse on Monday Night Football. Golladay didn't play much, gets a chance, key third down, drops it. The one job you have is to show up when you get a chance, Kenny, and he drops the football. That is not a good sign. Even if the Giants eat all of that money, the new team would still owe him $4.5 million next year. So my question is, okay, you want to trade him, Giants? What draft pick are you giving me to take him off your hands? Because I'm not giving you one. He has not been good his entire time in New York. He has been a bust all the way through. That's a big-time red flag for me. So what do you think? Would you trade for Kenny Golladay? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section. While you're down there, make sure you guys are subscribed. Trade deadline still over a month away, but we're going to keep you guys covered with everything going on around NFL trade rumors. We are the one-stop shop for you. If you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Now, PFF put out an article recently. They had a bunch of different trade candidates. 4 of them were receivers. So I wanted to explore them following Kenny Golladay. There's Terrace Marshall, Denzel Mims, Kendrick Bourne, and Darius Slayton. Those are the 4 names mentioned by PFF. So if you could trade for any of those 4 receivers, who would it be? TM for former second-round pick Terrace Marshall Jr., DM for Denzel Mims, KB for Kendrick Bourne, or DS for Darius Slayton. Now, we're going to go through 4 trades that PFF had for each of these guys. First up is Terrace Marshall. Packers get him. Panthers get a 2024 fifth-round pick. Marshall was a second-rounder. He's got 3 years at roughly $1 million per year left on his deal. The Packers have a lack of receiver talent right now. I don't mind this idea. Marshall's not even playing right now for Carolina. I would wonder if a future fifth is maybe a little bit too low, given where he was drafted. He is not there. The Panthers don't like him. And it's very weird to me. I know injuries have been a problem too. They traded for Chenault. He's made a great play against the Saints. Finally showed up. Marshall is an interesting name there. He's got the high draft pedigree, which I think is quite interesting from that standpoint in terms of the value there. But he hasn't done much of anything so far in his young NFL career. Maybe that could change with a change of scenery. Now, what I found interesting was PFF has the Panthers adding another receiver, another former second-round pick who has fallen out of favor. Maybe you just trade Denzel Mims straight up for Terrace Marshall as opposed to giving up 2 sixth-round picks for him. The Jets, by the way, allegedly wanted a 4th. And nobody said yes because why would they? I don't get the destination here, but I do get Denzel Mims as a trade candidate. He has asked for a trade. We know he wants out of New York. And at some point with 2 years left on his deal at about $1 million per year, somebody's going to give him a chance. I would think at some point the Jets let go of him. That is most certainly a name to monitor throughout the NFL trade deadline period. I do think Bourne or Denzel Mims is a good name to monitor. I got ahead of myself. Kendrick Bourne is the next name up. He played more against the Ravens after not doing much of anything. The Kendrick Bourne career arc, at least with the Patriots, is super weird to me. He has not done much of anything this year. He's seemingly fallen out of favor after going off for 800 yards last year in his first year with New England. Is it the coaching staff? Bourne is now like a backup for this team. Nelson Aguilar's been playing over him again. And Bourne is not getting much run after, I thought, a really impressive 2021. The Bears, of course, dire need for receivers. I think that's a great fit. I think the value is about right. That one is my favorite trade idea. Number 4 from PFF is Darius Slayton to the Indianapolis Colts. And I find this one interesting because I don't think the destination's quite right. I don't mind a receiver to Indy. I think they need more of a slot guy than a vertical threat. Because Paris Campbell's just not that great. I'm sorry. Alec Pierce can play that vertical threat role. You have outside guys. Pittman can do it. Pierce can do it. Slayton is a vertical threat as well. He's got 1 year left. Super cheap because the Giants restructured most of his money. Slayton does bring you speed on the outside. If you want a true vertical threat, that is absolutely somebody I think makes sense as a trade target. I just don't think it makes the most sense for him to be a Colts target from that standpoint. I like Slayton. I think a change of scenery could be good for him. He's clearly just kind of fallen out of favor from that standpoint. It's a good name to consider. I just question whether or not Indy's the right fit from that standpoint. So one more time through all the trade ideas here. Terrace Marshall from Carolina to the Packers for a 5th. Then the Panthers get Denzel Mims from the Jets in exchange for 2 6th-round picks. The Bears get Kendrick Bourne. And then, by the way, I forgot to mention, Bourne has 2 years, just under $9 million left on his deal. That's worth it for a Bears team that clearly need receiver help. And finally, Darius Slayton on the cheap from the Giants to the Colts in exchange for a 6th-round pick.